Today's the day, Zane Gang. Hello, it's me, your Captain Dead Spikes, making you a Zane Gang build. You've been waiting for the Mayhem 4 Zane build. That's absolutely insane. You guys have been waiting, and you are gonna love the build. It's exactly what you've been waiting for. I was super impressed. You guys are gonna love it. Today's the day. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to be part of the Zane Gang and see some more of this content. I have a great tip of the day for you at the end of this video. Also, at the end of this video, I have a new promotion I will be doing. Watch till the end and I will tell you about my new promotion I am making. You guys are gonna love it. I promise you will. Like, this is a mind-blowing promotion and it's what you guys have been waiting for. Also, I do have the Discord link pinned in the comment section. If you guys could please join the Discord, I would really appreciate it. I love talking to you guys all. You guys help me make these builds and help me just do stuff throughout the game. And I like helping you guys too. So join the Discord and we can talk. This is a build video. So the way I do build videos is I'm going to show you some gameplay and then we will go over everything in the build. I'm sorry the video is so long. It's just hard for me to make these short because I get really in depth. So let's get into the gameplay. Let's do it. Once again. Here we go. We're on run 18. Here's our modifiers. Normal bullet damage is up and weapon damage is up for them, which are actually modifiers I absolutely do not want, but it's gonna help show the build a little bit. I'll try to make this a quick run for you guys. Every single run I've done so far is sub 5 minutes, so I'm hoping we can stay at that. We've even had some crit damage down once and still did it, so should be able to do it fine. This redistributor is so nasty. Salvation is such a crazy perk too. After using Amara's siphoning perk, I forget what it's called, but after using that, I realized how important those are on ad control. Just staying alive by dealing damage with chains and stuff. Oh, we already got that open. Let's put the mission on. Sadly, I've figured out this door doesn't open until the timer's done. There's like a minute plus timer you have to wait through. Yeah, we're getting close. That was about the fastest run I've ever done of that first portion. That was crazy. There it is. All right. Let's clean up these mobs, get through this. Maybe we'll get our fastest run here. I wish that first portion didn't have a timer on it. Kind of sets every run pretty close to each other. You can only save portion on the last 3. That dude is stuck in the ground for a minute. Oof. Bomber got me. Cryo. This is what I want. I want this antifreeze. Oh yeah, this is without the antifreeze too. The antifreeze will make this build better, but we're using the infiltrator here. And it adds some damage. It adds some damage for sure. Infiltrator's fine for normal stuff like this. But trying to solo a takedown, you do need the antifreeze. That's what I'm trying to get it for. To do my solo run. I was able to get to Valkyries fine with the infiltrator. Just the survivability was pretty low. I think I could have done the Valkyries fine, but I know I wouldn't have been able to do Wotan with the infiltrator. So the antifreeze is gonna help with that. Because the infiltrator is stopping my cooldown times by breaking my shield, because topped off and adrenaline work off of how full your shield is. So I'm trying to get the antifreeze so I can keep my shield topped off. I love the infiltrator, don't get me wrong. It is an amazing class mod, and it's great for boss rushing and running through ads like this. But for survivability, I do want that antifreeze. We'll get it one day. We've seen every other class mod so far here, except for the antifreeze. Because the trial discipline boss at the end, he can drop 5 different dedicated class mods, and he's dropped 4 of them. So the only one he hasn't dropped yet is the antifreeze. But we'll get it, we'll get it. Hopefully I can include that at the end of this video, telling you how many runs it took me to get it. Alright, here's our Helix. It's for these guys right here. Easy kill on them. This one's almost a sub 4 minute, which would be my fastest. I don't think I'm going to get sub 4 minutes, though. It's close, but I don't think it's going to happen. We can clean it up with the Helix here. I'm just going to power through it. Sub 4 minutes! Oh, wrong class mod. Alright, Zane Gang! We back at it! Hello, Zane brothers. We're finally here with an M4 build. And I am absolutely impressed with Zane. Yeah. Zane is outputting so much damage on M4. He is literally outclassing my other 3 characters, and I still don't have the class mod I want. I'm using the wrong class mod, and my Zane is still out DPSing my Amara, my Moze, and my M4 Flak, which is crazy, and I did not expect it at all. And I'm proud. I'm proud to be a Zane main, and you guys better be as well. Let's get into this Abusive bunny build. This is crazy. This is the build to solo the takedown, okay? This is the build to solo anything. It's great too, because I've never in the whole time I've played Borderlands made a build that can boss and mob. And this build can. You don't need to change around builds no more. This does both extremely efficiently. So let's get into it. So for my top slot, I do have the Cutsman here. The Brainstormer is an option, but sadly the Brainstormer does not perform nearly as well as some other weapons. Or nearly as well as it does on the other characters, I should say. The Brainstormer is kind of underwhelming on Zane. I think it's because the chain part of the Brainstormer isn't affected by his buffs. So it's not dealing a whole lot of chain damage. It's only dealing a whole lot of impact damage. So that's the only part that sucks kind of with using the Brainstormer. So that's why I run the Cutsman. But we have a lot more stuff to get into here. So I run the Cutsman in this slot. Any type of shock weapon will be good, but the shock Cutsman is my favorite one for this slot. The next slot, this one took a little bit of testing. I'm running my good old Star Helix. I love this weapon so much. I was looking for a weapon that can single target damage, and it can kill fire heavyweights and shock heavyweights, because those are the 2 things that are tough for this build. And this weapon does it perfectly. It does amazing single target damage, and it kills those 2 heavyweights very fast. It also can kill any corrosive thing pretty quick. It can kill dogs fast and mechs very fast. This Star Helix is amazing. Well, you want the Arctic version, but the Arctic Star Helix is amazing. This is our single target DPS weapon. I did try the Maggie out, and the Maggie was underperforming. It wasn't good enough for this slot. If I wasn't using the Helix, I would probably use the Maggie, and the Nighthawken is the 3rd. The Nighthawken's another alternative. So you want either a Maggie, an Arctic Star Helix, or an Arctic Nighthawken. Well, all Nighthawkens are Arctic, but you're gonna want one of those 3 in this slot. There's a lot of other things you could probably try to use that would do it decent, but this is the one that performed the best so far, was the Helix. Corrosive Cutsman. The Cutsmans are crazy on Zane because he can be speed running while shooting that Cutsman, which is just awesome. This is great for large armor targets. So it can multi-hit them, or it can just destroy them. It's just very good for larger targets. If I was going for smaller targets, I would be using a Shredded Fire. So the dogs in the takedown, I use the Shredded Fire. For large targets, I use the Corrosive Cutsman. For the last slot, this is mandatory. The other 3 are optional. This slot is absolutely mandatory to perform at the level I am performing on this build. You don't need this anointment on it, but you need a redistributor. You need some form of the redistributor. And sadly, the redistributor only drops from Wotan and Valkyries at this moment in time. So you're going to have to farm the takedown to get a nice redistributor. But the lucky thing is you do not have to be on Mayhem 4 for a redistributor to drop. You can be on Mayhem 1, 2, 3, or 0 for a redistributor to drop. If you can't handle the takedown right now, Don't worry about doing M4 to get a redistributor. Just farm some of the other ones until you get one to be able to make this build. And play with some people. You don't have to be doing that takedown solo by all means, but this build can. Next, we have the recharger for our shield. Now, I'm running Terror on this build, and that I know that sucks. You can run it without Terror, but no, it's not going to perform at the same level. It's going to be underwhelming without Terror, because the redistributor terrorized is insane. Now, this recharger is giving me ammo regen. That's the only reason I'm using it. It doesn't matter what shield you're using here, as long as it's giving you ammo regen. The recharger does help with living, so that's really nice that I have that on ammo regen, but a transformer would almost be better in this slot. But the recharger is what I happen to be using. I also have a black hole. That would probably be fine. A Sidorak would be really good. Any shield with ammo regen. And then you're going to need a grenade to make the combo. You need a grenade that's going to apply terror. Or you could have a shield that applies terror with a grenade that gains ammo regen. Grenade's not even relevant. I'm not going to go over it. The anointment's all that matters. You want a terror grenade. If you're not running the terror style of this build, you're going to want a grenade that gives you incinerary, shock, corrosive, or radiation damage on action skill end. Same with the shield. You're going to want one of those if you're not using terror, but I highly suggest trying to get a hold of some terror gear to run this build. For the artifact, I use the Snowdrift Auto Idol. I highly suggest this. You can run a bunch of different artifacts if you'd like. The Victory Rush is decent, but the Snowdrift Auto Idol is giving you sustainment and it's giving you movement speed to get out of places. I highly suggest this. If you are trying to run the takedown anyways, or anything in general, the Snowdrift is the best part about this whole thing. You can see my 3 rolls on the bottom are absolute crap and they're not helping the build at all. If you had a really good rolled one, I couldn't even imagine. You'd want some movement speed maybe and some SMG damage or something, mag size. But Snowdrift Auto Idol is the one I recommend. If you can't get a hold of that, just use a Snowdrift of any form. For our class mod, currently I'm running the Infiltrator, which it is working fine with the Infiltrator. This class does work fine with the Infiltrator, and this isn't even a God rolled Infiltrator. Crappy rolls on the bottom. The top rolls are pretty good. 4 into Violent Momentum, but it's a crappy rolled Infiltrator, and it's still doing the job extremely well. Once the antifreeze is in this slot, this build will be perfect, and it will be running the takedown solo in a very fast time, which I plan to be uploading soon. I have to wait for that class mod to drop. Once that class mod drops, I will show you a speed takedown solo with no cheese. It's going to be crazy. You guys are going to love it, but I have to wait for that antifreeze to drop to do it. I've done 35 runs so far, and I still can't see it. Let's get into the skill tree now. Very quick skill tree. This build is so similar to max DPS Zane. There's only a little tweak. I think the only little tweak is Salvation. I put 5 points into Salvation, and that's going to give you that sustainment to never die. As long as you are dealing damage, you will never die. It's just like Amara's skill where she's dealing damage and healing. It's exactly the same thing. You will never die. 12% of damage is a lot, and I believe that gets times 2'd, so you get 24% of damage dealt is healing, and when that redistributor is going off, you are dealing so much damage, it's nearly impossible to die as long as you're shooting and you have your kill skills up. Other than that, like I said, this is pretty much the only change for max DPS Zane, is just that Salvation. So here's the red tree, here's the blue tree, and then here's the green tree. It's pretty easy build to make. 5 points into Adrenaline. I always run that on nearly every single build. I've never made a build without this points. And then it does unlock this passive, which is nice for the barrier. Sadly, this only works when it's on the ground, but since it's a fast cooldown build, you're gonna keep getting this every time you lay it. It gives you reload speed and movement speed. It does help with the build. For the clone, you will need Doppelbanger, because you're going to want to be killing that clone as often as possible. And you will also need this one. This is the one I run. You could run one of these 2 passives if you want to take the aggro off you or to share the health of the clone. It doesn't really matter which one you use as long as you have Doppelbanger, because you're just killing the clone. You're not even using it to any extent at all except for killing it, so you only need Doppelbanger. You could take off the passive and it would run exactly the same nearly. You got to make sure there's 0 points into borrowed time, because you do not want the duration up on your action skills. You want them down. You want them to be going around fast and coming back and using them, coming back and using them as much as possible, so you can cast Seen Red all the time to keep your kill skills up. You also want no points into this, so you don't want to run that class mod that puts points into this. You might even want to run a purple if you don't have an infiltrator or an antifreeze. You don't want any points into this or borrow time. You don't want no duration up. You will want 5 points into this. Always 5 points into this. This is where all of that damage is coming from on that redistributor. We're moving really fast, which is giving us a whole lot of gun damage and just killing everything, I guess. With our kill skills, we're getting more movement speed here, and it's just helping out a lot. This is what makes the whole build, basically, though. That's where all of the damage comes from. A little bit from synchronicity, but it's mostly from violent momentum. And now I didn't realize it was necessary until Guardian ranks broke, but you need Guardian ranks for this build as well. To run as fluidly as mine is, you absolutely need this perk right here. The other ones don't matter as much. They do help, but this perk right here makes or breaks the build a lot. Dead's tips to not be dead. Alright, for Dead's tip to not be dead, it's a pretty simple one. It goes with every single character. I'm going to show you it on Zane. It is tested and it is proven. You see these action skill end anointments on action skill end gain 50% bonus incinerary damage with weapons. I believe that can be on weapons, it can be on shields, and it can be on grenades. It is an extremely strong anointment, and you should be using it on a lot of different builds and characters. Well, the problem is that if you have 2 of the same one on anything, they do not stack. If you have fire and shock, it stacks, but you can't have fire. You can test it out yourself if you would like, but I can promise you that's the way it works. You're going to want fire shock, fire corrosive, anything else, just not double fire, double shock, double corrosive. They do not stack of the same element, but different elements do. Alright, you made it to the end of the video. So, we're going to go over the promotion I was talking about before. Now, in a lot of my builds like this, I use Terror. Now, the way I was going to go about things was I was going to start cycling Terror out of builds, but Terror is just so strong, it is really hard to cycle Terror out. So instead of cycling Terror out of the build, I'm going to do this promotion for now on. Since Terror is exclusive now, you cannot get Terror any longer to drop in the game. You have to get it from another source, but it does still... it is still existent in the game. You can still get Terror gear. It's just not from the game. You need to get it from other players if you've joined later on, or you just didn't get any good stuff to drop throughout the game. So I'm making this promotion so you can get Terror gear. Now, you have to do 3 things to be able to get Terror gear. Does not matter which console you are on. You could be on Xbox, PS4, or PC to be part of this promotion. If you need Terror gear to make builds like mine, or just to use for fun in general, I am going to supply a grenade that applies Terror and a shield that gives you ammo regen. If you, step 1, follow me on YouTube, well, subscribe to me on YouTube like you probably already are. Step 2, you need to subscribe to my Twitch channel, and then step 3, you need to DM me on Discord your gamer tag, and I will send you a ammo regen shield and an apply Terror grenade. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. Here are 2 videos I recommend you to watch, and I'll see you in the next one. Spikes out!